Hello and welcome to our software tutorial series. In this tutorial, we will walk you through how to create and transmit e-files in the tax preparation software. In this tutorial, you will learn how to create and transmit e-files. After you have completed diagnostics and corrected any errors, the e-file button should be highlighted. To create the federal electronic returns while in an open return, use the following steps. Click the e-file button. The Select e-files dialog box displays the e-files that are to be created if the return contains both federal and state e-files. The checkboxes default to true for all agencies marked as yes for e-file. Removing the selection from the checkbox prevents the e-file for the designated agency from being created. The Select e-file dialog box contains a notification as to whether the e-files are being created in the Modernized e-file MEF platform or legacy platform. The software automatically determines if a return must be filed using the legacy format. Once you have gone over this information, click OK. The software displays the status box stating electronic return is created and stored on disk. Click OK. Close the return without making changes. If you need to make changes, you will need to rerun diagnostics and recreate the e-file. Up to 9 state returns may be prepared and transmitted with each federal return. On the primary form for each e-file state, you must answer the question, do you want to electronically file this return? Answer yes to the question on each return you want to e-file. If you have an IRS-accepted federal return on your system, you can create a state e-file for that taxpayer if the state's rules allow it. The following are the most common reasons a preparer would create and send a state e-file without the federal. The state e-file was rejected by the state return has a refund and the federal return has a balance due, the state return is prepared after the federal return, the IRS accepted federal return must be on your system to create the state e-file in this situation. If the federal return was transmitted by another ERO or filed on paper, you cannot create a state e-file. The state return has a refund due to credits, and the federal return does not have a filing requirement. Beginning filing season 2012, the software supports the following 3 types of state e-file submission. State only if the state is delivered using the legacy e-file format. Linked if the state is participating in and is developed using the modernized e-file format. Unlinked if the state is participating in and is developed using the modernized e-file format. The state e-file submission defaults to linked returns for the MEF participating states that the software is supporting. The preparer has the option to change the state e-file submission to unlinked for situations where the state return needs to be filled prior to or without the federal e-file. To create a state e-file without the federal e-file, follow these steps. Open the federal return, add the state if you have not already done so, complete the state return, run diagnostics, correct any errors, click the e-file button, click OK to continue. Because the IRS already accepted the federal return, or the federal return has no filing requirement, the software does not create a new federal e-file. If the state return meets the state's rules for e-filing, the software creates the state e-file and displays a diagnostics results box. Requirements for transmitting e-files include the following. You must have created electronic files for 1 or more returns. Your internet connection must be active. Also, your printer must be turned on and ready to print the e-file submission report for individual returns. To transmit the e-files, do one of the following. Click the communication link in the menu at the left side of the home page and click Send Federal State Returns, or click the Communications menu and then click Send Federal State Returns. You can also press the Control key plus the S key on your keyboard. The software now displays the Select Returns to File dialog box. The Select Returns to File dialog box lists only those returns for which you have created e-files. You can search the list of created e-files for a particular Social Security number by entering the Social Security number in the Social Security number box. Select the return or returns you wish to file. and then click the Send button at the bottom right corner of the box. Next, the software displays the e-file submission report window. Do one of the following. To export the report, click the Export icon. To print the report, click the Print icon. Verify that the returns included in this e-file submission report are the returns you want to send and that the names and refund amounts are shown correctly. You can retain paper copies and use them to match with the corresponding IRS acknowledgments for these returns. This provides a paper trail for each e-file tax return. Once the information has been verified, close the e-file submission report dialog box. The software displays the Confirm dialog box. Note: choosing No cancels the transmission. If you cancel the transmission, the software erases the transmittal file but retains the e-files so you may send them later. Click the Yes button to send the returns. Once you choose Yes to continue, the software will display the Electronic Filing Center dialog box, which shows the progress of the transmission. Note the messages in the Session Information section of the dialog box. Mail tossed indicates there were acknowledgments, email messages, or updates downloaded. The session was successful indicates that you successfully connected to the Electronic Filing Center. In the event the session was unsuccessful, you would click the Connect button to try again. If the session is successful, click Close. Please note that for legacy e-files, the IRS may take up to 48 hours to acknowledge the file you just transmitted. If the return or returns were sent via modernized e-file, the acknowledgement should be back in a matter of hours. After the files have been transmitted, the software will erase the e-files. It does not erase the actual tax return files. If the transmission was not successful and you wish to try again later, click Close. The software retains the transmittal file containing your e-files. The next time you open the Tools menu and select Send Federal State Returns, the software displays the Select Returns to File dialog box with two new active buttons. You have the option now to resend the transmittal file by clicking Retransmit Batch, or you can unbatch the transmittal file by clicking Unbatch. When you unbatch your e-files from the transmittal file, you can start the transmission process again at the beginning. You should now be able to create and transmit e-files. Thank you for viewing this tutorial.